Okay, so back to our bananas document, and the next part about the review tools that we're going to look at is called the tracking section, or the tracking features, and we start off with this thing called track changes. Now, what is track changes? If you're editing a document with other people as well, or just for your own research purposes, you can switch on track changes, which does what it says. It tracks the changes that take place in the document. So I'm going to switch it on. Okay, it is now switched on. So if I go ahead and I delete something, all right, so I'm going to go bananas float and I delete the word float. Do you see that the word float now changes to red? It is struck out, okay, and I can see that there's a little marker here. And anything that I do if I've added in a word and a space, have a look. Also, if I go and change something like press enter, adding in a new bullet point, everything that takes place in this document gets recorded in track changes. And then this can be sent to someone else. Another person can see what has been done in terms of the editing on the document. Now, have a look at what sort of options I have with how I view these track changes. At the moment, it's showing all markup. If I change that and I say simple markup, you will notice that the word float has disappeared, but I do have a red bar here which shows me that there has something has taken place. I can go from simple markup to all markup, that shows me everything, or I can go to no markup, so now I don't actually know what has been edited where, no marks, nothing, or I can even revert back to the original file before the track changes was initiated. So track changes is actually very, very powerful. So I'm going to go back to all markup so you can see. Now, what another person can do if they're also working on this document, or if you're working on the document and you've done this in advance, you can accept or reject each change that gets made. I'll show you what it means. So for example, this first change that got made, bananas float in water, and the word float was deleted. Now, I mean, if we didn't replace that with another word, then it would just be bananas in water, because it doesn't make sense. So let's say we obviously say, well, this deletion is irrational, it's irrelevant. I'm going to reject that change. So I click reject. It is now no longer deleted or struck out, and it gets returned bananas float in water. Let's have a look here. The banana is actually classified as a normal berry, and you might think, actually we don't need that. We don't need the word normal there, so I'm going to reject that as well. Here we have a bullet point. We go, that's actually quite an important point. So I like the way they've done the K's and H's like that, and it makes sense, of course. So I'm going to keep this. I'm going to accept this change. Click accept. That change is now accepted, there we go, sorry, into the document. There it is there. Do you see? And that's what accepting or rejecting changes does. Often you'll find in Microsoft Word, in your exams, you'll be given a document where there'll be a couple of changes, and you are then told to accept or reject certain of those changes, and that is what you will do. And last but not least, the reviewing pane in the tracking section actually shows you, if I switch it off, it's not there, switch it on, there it is, it actually shows you the revisions that have taken place within a document. As revisions are taking place in a document, so if I go ahead and underline that, whatever I do as an author and then what other people do as authors gets put here into the revisions panel, and that's what the reviewing pane is all about.